These are the notes for lesson 5-4, part B. Today we are doing yesterday's lesson backwards. We're going to sketch a graph from a description instead of looking at a graph and then describing it. We're going to sketch a graph from its description. So for our first example, we know our function is even, and we know that its zeros are at -1, 3, 7, and -6. So we need to draw a graph. And we need to plot the zeros. I'm going to count by twos. So we have -1, we have 3, we have 7, and we have -6. This graph is even, so we have two choices. We can have both arrows go up, and then smoothly curving through, or if you would rather, you could have both arrows go down. And again, smooth curves. You could either draw the red or the purple answer. They are both correct, but you only need one of them. So let's try again. Our new graph has degree of 4. The only zeros our graph is allowed to have are -3 and 5. And we have been informed that there's a maximum at 2. So again, we need some axes. I will again count by twos. We will plot a 0 at -3 and a second 0 at 5. If there's a maximum at 2, that means between -3 and 5, we have to put a upside down parabola. So 2 needs to be somewhere, it doesn't matter where, but it has to have an upside down parabola looking shape. But you need to connect to these other ones. And again, 4 means even. So in this case, we could have both arrows going down, which would be a perfectly acceptable answer. Or, if you would rather, we can swoop them back up and have both arrows going up. It doesn't matter which answer is written down. They are both correct. Number 3. We know that our graph is even, that it has a negative leading coefficient, and there's a minimum at x equals 1. So again, we need some axes. A minimum means that we're going to have a right side up U shape. Even says we have two arrows the same direction. Negative means both arrows have to go down. So in order to reconcile all of that together, we need to make an upside down W, so an M. So we do one something, and we draw a right side up shape, and then we have to flip them over to make it even and negative. All right, you should try one now. On page 335, try number 32. For those of you who can't seem to remember to bring your books, it is an even function. There's a minimum at x equals 3. It has a positive leading coefficient. Take a moment and do this problem, please. So you should have drawn some axes. Even positive means both arrows have to go up. Minimum means we need a upward U shape. So technically we can just draw a parabola that has a minimum at x equals 3. It can be 3 whatever y value you want. So your answer could be up here. It could be lower on the graph. You could have gone fancy and had it here with the minimum and then flipped it and then made it go back up. That seems like a lot of work, but it's possible. So there are 3 possible answers. Hopefully yours is close to one of them. So reminders. Odd positives have the right arrow going up and the left arrow going down. Odd negatives have the right arrow going down and the left arrow going up. Even positives have both arrows going up, and even negatives have both arrows going down. Your homework that you will turn in tomorrow using Chalk Up is page 335, numbers 27 through 31, and page 340, numbers 10 and 19 through 21.